"98 Not Out", sponsored by Shepherd Neame, proud supporters of cricket in Essex.
Okay, time now for our first guest of the evening. Been in the news recently. He has signed a new 3-year deal with Leicestershire after being on loan at the tail end of last season. So it's a big 98 Not Out welcome to Mr. Rishi Patel. Rishi, are you there?
Hi, how are you?
We are very, very good, and you are coming through loud and clear as well, so we like that. So what are you doing with yourself at the moment?
Well, just trying to settle into Leicester, really. I'm up in the gym 3 times a week at Leicester, so it's good to sort of be half active and get back into the swing of things a little bit, as much as I can do.
Have you been given a training program by the club? I remember when lockdown happened the first time round. It was more strict, and people were at home, but they were still being given workouts and diets from the club. Is that the case this time round?
Yeah, it's all pretty much the same stuff. So we're sort of going into it as we would a normal pre-Christmas. So there's a lot of gym, a lot of running, and all the fun stuff, I guess.
You've always loved that, Rishi, haven't you?
Yeah, always. But no, it's good because, you know, I see a few of the boys here and there when we're allowed into the gym and stuff. So it's been nice.
Do you get sort of your own dedicated slot in the gym? I guess they have to manage who's in the gym at the same time, do they?
Yeah, so it's pretty much you come in, you text in what time you roughly want to come in, and they sort of organise it around that. Whereas I think they're allowed 4 people in their gym, so it's quite a big-sized gym in all fairness, and you know everything's sort of on the ground, which is quite nice to have.
Very good.
Leicestershire have been very busy over the last sort of couple of months. Obviously, you've joined them. Scott Steele came from Durham. Ed Barnes has come from Yorkshire. And I think they've just announced that Ben Mike has signed a contract extension. So looks like they're showing a bit of intent.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think you know where the club was the last couple of years. I think they're going for a new approach. Obviously, Sean Jarvis has come in as a new CEO, and he's got this idea to move the club forward in the right direction with young, hungry players. And I think we all sort of buy into that theory, and we all want to really perform well and almost prove to county cricket that, you know, Leicester now will be a club that's going to fight for trophies and not sort of just down the pecking order. I know last couple of years have done really well in white ball cricket, which is great to see, and hopefully now we're going to give a bit more of a crack in the red ball stuff as well, and be a team that, you know, other counties look toward and say, geez, they're a good team.
Now, you came through from a very young age through the age group process and the academy at Essex. Was it how tough a wrench was it to leave a club where you'd been for so long?
Yeah, really tough. It was a tough decision, but I think where I was, you know, I was playing a lot of twos cricket and sort of on the fringes at Essex, and I feel I've got to the point where, you know, twos cricket isn't going to help me improve, and I might be okay at it, but it's not going to help me improve and get to that first class arena where I really want to be. And sort of it's an exciting new challenge for me, and one I'm really looking forward to, hopefully playing a lot more first class games and, you know, seeing if I can play at this level, which I believe I can do.
What is to younger listeners that are tuned in and are hoping to follow a similar path, and whether it's Essex or any other big county or whatever, this program of coming through the age groups and academies and the rest of it, what advice would you give to an 11 or 12-year-old that's hungry to go down a similar track?
My honest opinion is they have to have fun, because sometimes it gets to a point, and you see it sort of you get to 15, 16, and parents sort of end up pushing their children towards it because they've done it for so long. And I think that sort of hunger has to come from within a player to really want to, make it at the top level. And that's something that people can't force on you. It's got to come from yourself more than anyone else.
I think at that age, it's quite a critical age as well, because 15, 16, as you say, exams, GCSEs, etc., come into it.
Of course.
Distractions start coming along. Your hormones start raging.
You remember that, do you?
I'm still waiting.
It's a really difficult one because I think, exams, A-levels, and, balancing that training, with the academy, you come in. I remember because I live in Chigwell and it's 45 minutes away from the county ground. So I'd come straight from school, go straight to the academy sessions, which would be something like 6 till 9 or something.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to come home, so it would be 9:45, have my dinner, and then if I had work to do, then I'd have to try and fit that work in after that and then go to sleep and then get back up early to then go back into school. So it's definitely not easy around that age, especially when you've got pressures from school to do well in exams and stuff.
You were at Brentwood, weren't you? Brentwood School?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. That's not a 5-minute journey either from Chigwell, is it?
No, exactly.
Yeah. What do the clubs do? Surely the clubs must, the counties must recognise that. And I know they're under pressure to get youngsters performing and try and pick or drive talent through. Do you feel that the process recognises the strains on youngsters at that age?
I think it's different because I think Essex has been a county where they've had a lot of players from like the Brentwood, Chelmsford sort of area, and not so much the East London. They've sort of just started coming through. Like you got your Dan Lawrence, Nick Browns, Porter, but then you've got a lot of people based around Chelmsford, which I think helps the club because they've got that attraction because they're right next to the ground to help. I think Arf and Dan Feast do a lot of great work in sort of the East London areas and, really sort of trying to build the new Leighton Centre up and trying to get the Asian community being able to play cricket and enjoy cricket down there. So it's not that much of a trek to come up to Chelmsford. So I think, there's work being done at Essex to get a lot more players in, which I think can only be a good thing.
Essex used to play down at Ilford. Do you think if they were to go back to playing even festival cricket in that part of the county, stroke East London, it would provide a shot in the arm to local kids from those communities?
Oh, definitely. I can't see why not, because I think there's a massive Asian community in East London way, sort of where I'm from, who'd love to be able to go and watch and walk to a ground where there's professional cricket going on. I think it can only help if they do go down that route. I don't know how feasible it is, but
Yeah, it would take some investment from the county, wouldn't it? I mean, it's strange because they used to play at Valentine's, didn't they? Also used to play a few years before that. Used to play at Leytonstone.
They
and
did,
then moved everything, and obviously Brentwood as well, and then moved everything out further and further into sort of deepest, darkest Essex.
Yeah, there was that time where, and I was really hoping that it would happen, that they were going to play some sort of cricket at the Olympic Stadium.
Yeah.
Which would have been amazing on many levels, not just for involving the local communities around there, but what a place to play T20 and. People, I think there was criticism. Oh God, they're never going to fill a 60,000 stadium. But do you know what? Given the location,
right outside Liverpool Street.
Right, yeah.
You think how many people go
Wharf
to the Oval or Lords for the T20s?
Yeah,
particularly the Oval because they've got the right atmosphere there.
Yeah,
I think people.
And you imagine all the Chelmsford guys coming in down the train station.
Yeah, it's dead easy.
Straight into Liverpool Street. I mean, they'd have a blast as well, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
I think it could have, and I know Essex were quite a long way down the track of trying to make it happen. I know that various people had been up and measured the ground, and I think if you look at it, I mean, I know, West Ham fans moan continuously that it's not an ideal shape for football, which it isn't. I mean, it was designed for athletics, but it gives itself an oval shape. And I think if you place the wicket basically across the halfway line, if it was on a football pitch, there are the dimensions.
Well, that's what they do in New Zealand, isn't it? They turn, I can't remember the name of the stadium, but there's a rugby stadium they turn into.
Eden Park?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they play cricket there. And the dimensions are different, but it's the same for both sides. So, so what to an extent?
Yeah, I think it would have been an amazing thing if they could have. But I think, to be fair to Essex, I mean, they did try really hard, but I think they ran up against all kinds of obstacles, and the logistics of dropping in pitches and that kind of thing. Although since then, you look at what's happened at Tottenham, and that slide on, slide off pitch they've got for the American football at the new stadium.
They can do it if they want to.
Yeah, but that's not to say that there aren't other options. And I think maybe that could be done. And as you say, this Leighton project and Arfan Akram, who's doing so much work. Did you see today he had a big feature in the Daily Mail?
Yeah, I saw bits of it. Yeah, amazing. Good on him.
He's a good guy, isn't he? He does work really hard, and
Paul Webb might not think that, playing for once. No,
Arfan's a county legend, isn't he? He's very well respected across the whole county.
Very, very humble. I mean, not someone to post selfies all over
of
social
course
media.
Not. Not that you can talk.
But he's just at another level, isn't he? I mean, whenever the rest of us put on, there he is. I mean, he was part of the Pakistan team, wasn't he, this summer?
Yeah.
So Rishi, back to you and Leicester. No doubt you've had any number of meetings with Paul Nixon. What's your plan for the season? What do you want to focus on?
That's a tough one, because I've always wanted to play red ball cricket. I love red ball cricket, and I've always said that, and it's the hardest form of the game, in my opinion. But as a player, you want to play all formats. So I think I've got a lot of work to do in my white ball game. I can strike it well, but it's sort of knowing when to build and knowing how to build an innings in white ball cricket, I think. But you look at it, and it's incredible how the game's just developing so quickly, especially in T20. And now, sort of, we might see 100 sort of pop back up next year. So the game's always developing, and you've sort of always got to try and adapt and to stay in the game, essentially.
Have you? We were talking just before you came on about the crowded calendar of franchise cricket at the moment. Have you got any thoughts about maybe going on to do that, or is that for another time for you?
I mean, I think it would be a great opportunity, but I've got to do well here, and I think it's a lot harder the way the English T20 competition is set up, because a lot of the franchises will look at TV performances, and to not sort of have the same level of coverage as like the IPL, for example, where they've got a game every night. Like, I'm sure you guys have watched it, and you can name maybe 3 or 4 young Indian players that have come through, and you said, "Wow, look at him." Yeah. Whereas you look at the English league, and how many of you know players from Durham in T20, or, for example, Scott Steele, who had a pretty good tournament not last year, the year before. And you just you wouldn't really recognise those players or know what they can do because you haven't seen them that much. It's as simple as that, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's a really good point.
Excellent. Yeah, that's right. What I would say is, on a positive note, after leaving Essex, and I can sympathise with it being a tough decision, but you're joining a select club of players that have taken the plunge and left Essex at kind of crucial points of their careers and gone on to prosper. So, Reece Topley, who's had an amazing story and is now back in the England setup, Tamal Mills, Ben Folkes, I mean, even Ravi, having been at the club for an incredible amount of time, decided that he needed a new challenge. All those guys, but particularly Reece, Tamal and Folkesy, that were very young and round about your sort of age when they decided that they needed to move on. And it's worked out.
Of course, yeah. I think there's plenty more, like Billy Goddleman, who's done fantastically up at Derby. There's players and players who have left, and hopefully I can join them and sort of make a name for myself, essentially. And it's an exciting challenge. Hopefully we can see some crowds back into games as well next year, and that'll be great as well.
Yeah, and I think particularly Red Ball cricket is probably a good place to start. I've just thought as well, Mark Patini went to Leicester, didn't he? After
Mark Patini was up here as well.
Yeah, but I think fingers crossed. We've got 6 months before the season gets underway, or is supposed to get underway, and providing we don't have any more third waves or fourth waves, and this vaccine does prove successful, that surely we must be able to be getting spectators back. They are trying it in Australia. I read that the India Test match at the MCG on Boxing Day, they are allowing 25,000 spectators in there.
That's such a big stadium, isn't it? I think the Australians are quite good that way. I think they've handled it quite well, as well as the New Zealand. Now they're sort of getting to the point where they can allow people back in, which is great news, and it's great success. So
like you say, it's an enormous stadium, isn't it? So even 25,000 is going to be sort of rattling around.
It's my bucket list to do that at some point.
Boxing Day.
I mean, although family commitments and all the rest of it, whether that way I'm or not, but I've always
been twice. It's amazing. I went the Ashes, and then I think last year against New Zealand, so it was packed out both times. It's been have near 90,000 people in the stadium. It was unbelievable.
I can't imagine. I mean, as you say, it's just like a real occasion, isn't it, on the Australian calendar?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
One day, Rishi. One day that'll be you.
Keep at it. Well, we wish you well, and I'm sure this is going to be a good move for you, and we'll. The next time when we try and get hold of you, you'll be too busy, and we'll have to go through your agent or something like that, and you'll have forgotten all about us because you'll be way too important and way too successful. But
always have time.
Well, we appreciate that. Many thanks for joining us, and all the best, and stay safe through the winter. Keep training, keep doing all those runs, and stick to the diet and all those other fun things you've got to do, as the long nights and cold mornings.
Oh, you make it sound so appealing.
Rishi's a professional, he knows that.